And Catherine, will you kick us off?
Yes, can you hear me? I might have a piece of paper waving in front of my face and I apologize.
I can hear you.
Welcome, everybody, and happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Love Unmasked. Excuse me. This is our first open call on the Poets Corner. We were overwhelmed with the number of submissions, close to 100, close to 101 in all. The quality of work received, both poetry and prose, was outstanding and a joy to read. We wish we could have many more readers, but with only an hour to read, we had to limit our selection to 17. Every submission, if the writers did not request otherwise, will be published on our website. We encourage you to read through and enjoy the multitude of expressions of love. Today's readers come from all walks of life. They come from Maine and across the country. They will share an array of ideas and approaches to the theme of love. Our next event will be on the first Sunday of March, March 7. It's called The Art of the Book and features 2 writers and a book designer. My co-founder, Meg, who you've been talking with, will share her recently limited edition publication, Letters from the White Queen. It's fantastic. Richard Rice Smith, the designer of Meg's book, will also speak. Richard chairs the Book Arts and Design program at Maine Media. Renowned photographer and writer Sig Harvey will read from and show us her newest book, Blue Violet. The book is scheduled for release May 4th. After sharing their own work, these 3 will speak about writing, designing, and publishing books. Please mark it on your calendar and join us. We will be recording today's event, so if you do not want your image to appear, you may turn off your video camera. The recording will be on our website later this week, so if you know folks who had to miss today's readings, please direct them to www.thepoetscorner.org/events. The Poets Corner was founded by Meg Weston and myself in June 2020. Our purpose is to create and expand community among writers and readers of poetry and short prose. And what a community it's turned out to be. Thank you so much for being a part of today's fun-filled event.
Thank you, Catherine. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to see everybody here. So with 17 selected pieces and this incredible group of writers that we have sharing their work with you today, we wanted to group it into chapters. So we did, and we have 3 chapters loosely based on 3 connecting themes. The first will be Love Wanted. The second we've called Unexpected Love. And the third called Love Lasts. And we'll take a breath in between each chapter and possibly take a question from the audience. But please put your questions and comments in chat, and we'll try to keep an eye on that. And hopefully we'll have plenty of time for more questions and comments at the end. So we'll begin with Love Wanted. Haven't we all wanted a love that didn't happen, or a promise that wasn't realized, or remember a love fondly that ended long ago, or one that was taken from us too soon, or one that's just the beginning of a promise of new love? The poems and prose pieces in this group touch on all of those things. And so today we won't have time to introduce our readers with a full bio, but please read their bios online on the poetscorner.org/featured-writers. But I will introduce each writer by name, and we're going to begin with a prose piece by Linda Buckmaster. Linda, you're on. Linda, you're muted, so you need to unmute.
Got it. Okay, so this is an excerpt from a longer essay called Double Ring Ceremonies. I was 42 at the time, and he 52 when we married. We both knew what we wanted. I was a virgin at the institution of marriage because before Warren, I had never known a man I would commit myself to in that way. I never considered marrying my son's father, even though we were together 6 years. There was never any discussion between Warren and myself of a diamond. Well, maybe just a little. Warren was hesitant about wasting money on mere baubles, and we were in the middle of adding a cellar under the house, a new kitchen and bathroom, and expanding the dormer upstairs. We agreed we would rather put the money into new windows. For rings, we would both have gold bands. At our wedding, Warren's oldest son handed him the ring. Warren fumbled with sliding it onto my finger, and when I looked up, I saw he was bright red as he gave his vow to me, the heat from his face reaching mine. When it was my turn, the fingers on his outstretched hand were splayed apart, the third finger stretched just a little more than the others, so that it was a bit lower, as if waiting to receive. Talk of the diamond emerged a few years later. As we aged and our shared children left home, we both wanted to seize everything life had to offer, and somehow the diamond became part of that. For our wedding anniversary in November, we drove 2 hours to Portland to shop for a ring. At the store, we pointed to some modest ones under the glass, which the sales clerk pulled out and laid on a velvet cushion. We narrowed it down to two, both delicate settings for my small hand, but good diamonds, well cut and flashing with their good breeding. Warren was in one of his seize the day moods and wanted to buy the ring right then and there, me striding out the door with the diamond riding proudly on my conspicuous finger and him by my side. I said no. We went out to the parking meter for a discussion. If I'm going to get a diamond, I said, I don't want to just buy it and walk out the store like picking up a gallon of milk. I want to be presented the ring inside one of those little black velvet boxes inside a slightly bigger white box with a big bow on top. A big bow on top, he laughed. Yes. Why not just get it now with the bow? It'll save a trip later. I want the ceremony. We came around to deciding that it would be a Christmas surprise, and he went back into the store to write down the statistics of the two I liked best. Arm in arm, we walked the bright, windy streets of Portland, elated for the rest of the afternoon. At that point, neither of us anticipated, could have imagined, that 2 days before Thanksgiving, in the school parking lot, he would suddenly collapse and be gone.
Oh, Linda, that was just beautiful and so poignant and so sad. I don't know how you got through it without tears, really. Just gorgeous. Thank you. Our next reader will be Jack Kennedy. Jack?
Hi. Meg, how do we get on the full screen?
That's up to the participants can put you on speaker view.
Oh,
If
okay.
you put it on speaker view, you should be full screen.
How do we see ourselves? I'm so sorry.
We can see you just fine.
Okay, good. Okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
When I'm standing near you, it's not often that words speak for themselves. There are some things once said that cannot be taken back. This is one of them. So I'm quiet as I watch you sketch your new life of charcoal and communicate with a sacred woman inside you. And I am attracted. The attraction is very strong to the fire that surrounds when I'm standing near you, talking about other things. Compliments, art, relationships, what works, not what didn't. And you keep questioning when you don't really need to. No apologies. If nothing can be done about it, that's okay. On the strength of that, I can live knowing that I've been this close to real beauty.
A beautiful poem, Jack. Thank you. Thanks
you.
for sharing that. And we're going to follow Jack with Amy.
Okay.
And Amy, we see about half of you, so you need to move over.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get myself there.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
thank you. Is that,
That's great.
this is called Just Ask Eve. I swore off men forever, swore that I would never share my house or laundry or kitchen again. I would be that eccentric old woman at the end of the road with a barn full of deadwood and feral cats. I would paint and write poetry, read cookbooks, bake pies. I would grow marijuana. The kitchen is cold as usual. The washing machine has frozen and I am barefoot. Why on earth did I choose a slate floor, I wonder? I reach for a glass. The seltzer is nowhere in sight. I glance at the sink where my well-seasoned cast iron skillet lies submerged in a bath of liquid dawn. I search my refrigerator, crammed with unidentifiable items in jars without lids and things long expired. I open the dishwasher, aluminum pots piled haphazardly on top of grandmother's crystal and porcelain plates. Aunt George's silver randomly placed with stainless steel and chopsticks. My well-oiled cutting board blocks the spray arm. I clear my throat. There's a sequence, you know. Saucers with saucers, plates with plates, like with like. Think of every space as precious real estate. He doesn't respond. I glance at his face, kind, handsome, high cheekbones, furrowed brow, sweet hooded eyes, a pronounced Roman nose, perch of a smile on his lips, and a very impressive waddle. And all the while I'm thinking, damn, he looks like Clint Eastwood. He's got that same habit of clenching his jaw when he's thinking or sizing things up or about to kill someone. He crosses his arms and glowers at me. I have to do this gently. Look, I say, the racks are designed to hold dishes in a pattern. It's logic. The water comes up from the bottom and spins through a spray arm, and my eyes trace the outline of his worn flannel robe. Faded Scotch plaid, the belt misplaced years ago. I have learned to hold my tongue. I fill the carafe with water and head for bed. Bed, where gravity is kind as we lie side by side, where frown lines relax and jowls disappear. His face is soft in repose. I mentally trace his unfurrowed brows, sketch the outline of his aquiline nose, those crazy wired eyebrows with a mind of their own. And I imagine the tow-headed boy riding waves in La Jolla. I see the teen walking barefoot in the summer of love, the 20-something who married too soon, the professor who mentored 1,000 students. I see the poet who is teaching me how to write. My eyes linger on his profile, follow the angle of his jaw, the strong line of his chin, the smooth contour of his throat, the curve of his, oh my God, he's got an Adam's apple. Who knew? I thought to myself. And what is it about an Adam's apple that is so damn sexy? And why did Eve give Adam the apple in the first place? Was the snake really to blame? As an artist, am I completely insane to pursue a career in writing? I save that thought, tuck it under my pillow for later, and gently drift back to sleep. Tomorrow I will paint and write poetry.
Wonderful, wonderful piece, Amy. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next up is Josephine Chaparro.
Thank you. Thank you. The name of my poem is With a Special Bendición for the year 2021. On March 28, 2020, at 7:21 p.m., my special friend sent me a photo of a beautiful flower he had taken. That day, all the flowers he saw were beautiful. He sent me an email and he wrote, "Spring doesn't give a damn about any virus." The photo he sent me that day was of a bright red geranium in someone's garden in Andersonville. Behind the red geranium was a black ornate wrought iron fence, and white tiles were embedded in the ground. The green leaves were thick and healthy. My friend was right. The spring flowers did not care about our pandemic. They continue to grow and glow. His message inspired me to write the humble poem that I want to read to you. I must deviate for a moment and define a Spanish word that I used in my poem. That word is bendición, bendición, with a diacritical mark on the letter O. Bendición means blessing in Spanish. Bendición is an important word in my life. It is lovely to give a blessing. It is lovely to receive a blessing. So right now, I want you to come with me. I invite you all to take a walk with me and let us converse with my friends' beautiful flowers. The flowers love us. A pause and a conversation with beautiful flowers for Chicago and Illinois and the USA and the world, with a special bendición for the year 2021. Sometimes it is our colors. Sometimes it is the shape of our delicate petals. Sometimes it is our scent. Sometimes you will give us to a bride to make her feel like a beautiful princess. Sometimes we try to say hello to you. Sometimes we say, "You look mighty handsome today." We have marvelous greenery that is part of our natural package. We do not need stylists, advertising people, or fancy cameras. We do not need to be placed in magazines for the wealthy to see us. We must tell you we are here for everyone, rich or poor, sad or happy. We are here for you to take a little pause today and say hello to us. But we must ask you, humanity, we know you are in complete solitude. Humanity, we know you are in intense pain. Humanity, we know you need our love. Humanity, we beg you, please, please, will you accept our bendición? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josephine, and thank you for that benedición for this year. Appreciate it. All right, next we go to Margaret Haberman.
I put these headphones on because they help me focus. Can you all hear me? What a funny holiday this is. Thank you for inviting me and accepting my poem. A year ago on Valentine's Day, my husband had surgery and we spent the night in a medical building. And in the morning, I went and bought the best donuts in Maine, Holy Donuts. And this poem is not about that, but I'm glad we got through the year. And this poem is called Dancing Above the Bull Branch. And the bull branch refers to a branch of the Sunday River, which flows through Western Maine up through Riley Township. Dancing above the bull branch. We heard the news that fires were burning in the mountains near your home. A friend said you packed up your wife and son, drove to town, left them there, went back to the cabin, threw water on the tall grass, moved your beloved dory closer to the wide stream. I still think of you from time to time. In casual conversation, your name comes up. People glide over the fact of your Russian bride, a son you surely adore. They remember you back when you built your dory, took it down the Colorado River in winter. A man, 2 oars, and a handmade wooden boat. April out in Western Maine, that spring we met, near Morrison Farm, beneath Sunday River Whitecap, high above the Bull Branch. The big room of the old camp, you leaning against a white meat freezer, coat zipped, arms folded, ankles crossed. Everywhere we turned, there was mud, a landscape of brown and gray, snow old and grainy, your coat bright blue, casual against that freezer, the brightest star in a motley constellation of paddlers, climbers, hangers-on. Remember dancing? Cassette tapes, boombox plugged into the wall of the old kitchen, camp dining room cleared of tables. You said, put your palm here. That way I can control where you're going. Bette Midler singing In the Mood, Count Basie's Chattanooga Choo Choo. I was a silk scarf of a girl with my hand on the small of your back, barely 27, following every step. When the music stopped, we sat down in thin metal chairs and put our shoes on. I know that was not the ending. We walked up the long hill to the tiny cemetery on Paradise Road, stood in the parking lot of the pub. That summer, I saw you on the cliffs in Acadia. You wrote a letter I did not keep. After news of the fire, my husband told stories of watching you paddle down the Colorado. He said he was the best. Someone else wanted to know if your wife was a mail order bride. I said he could dance. Everyone got quiet, looked at me, so I said it again. He could dance. Out there in the mountains of Washington with your bride, mother of your child, I hope the fires are under control. I hope they play music, sing old jazz songs. I hope there's someone to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. It's a wonderful poem. And so we're going to finish up this chapter with Anna Lamonta Salisbury.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anna Salisbury. I'm here from Harlem, And this poem is called Live and in Living Color, a personal ad. It was written a few years ago with the inspiration being the #1 train, which is an elevated train here in New York above the ground. And so here goes. Love is about imagination. So I got on the #1 train headed uptown and announced to no one and everyone that I was available. I sashayed down the center of the car, shaking and shimmying, slithering down the center pole, a slinking salamander, and shouted above the conductor's announcement. Look here now, look here. Don't let this patch of gray between these braids run you off. It's a testimony to the fact that I have lived and loved something fierce. That I know how to lick a man or a woman clean to the marrow, and I know how to be on the receiving end of the licking. I haven't forgotten love, what it's like to be loved and how to give some love. Which one of you be needing some love, some new love? Now, before you jump on this here opportunity, let me warn you, I'm not cleaning your drawers or watching your other woman's babies, but for a small space of time, usually somewhere around when the wind on 155th and St. Nick gets something fierce, just before Thanksgiving and not quite after Easter, depending on when the groundhog sees his shadow and all, I am here to tell you that I am willing and able to not be your maybe, but your baby. Prime loving right here. If you ain't taken, you be mistaken. Thank you. And thank you for selecting my poem.
Oh, that's such a great poem, and I really love it. And for all of you who want to read these poems, most of them are up on the website, so I encourage you to go read them, the poems and prose pieces, just to get them all over again. They're so wonderful. I am not going to take a question in between because of our time here, so I'm going to move right into our next chapter. And this chapter we've called Unexpected Love. It had a couple of titles, and then we found that, when we were reading through submissions, we really look for the unexpected, not the many wonderful love poems, but this collection are, they are love to the North Pole, love of a dog, love of a dead mouse. I mean, they're all different wonderful, wonderful expressions of love. So we're going to start this chapter off with John Paul Caponegro.
Okay. This is a poem from a collection of love poems to the earth, to a place, Uyuni, Bolivia, which is the largest salt flat in the world. You have long, dry seasons, but when you come, you bring sky to earth. Then, when I wander in you, I wander in heaven. Then, when I cannot tell up, I cannot tell down, I fall into you, wherever my turn. Then, when my touch, my breath brings ripples in you, in me, in us. Then, when I reach under your salty skin, I find gems brought to light. You sparkle. You make light effervescent. You plant a garden of stars in me. Then, when I leave you, why must I leave you? If I must leave you, I carry constellations of you. I carry your light with me. I carry you in me.
A beautiful poem, and I'd forgotten that Uyumi, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that it was the salt flats, and it makes so much sense. I reread it and I said, this isn't the North Pole, this is something else. And it's a wonderful poem, and it just stays with me, that Garden of Stars. So thank you.
Thank you.
So next up in this group is Richard Wesley.
One of the great seduction poems that many of us are familiar with is Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress. You probably studied it in high school. I know I did. In that poem, he basically argues that his beloved's reluctance to have sex with him would be fine if they had an eternity in which to dawdle and fret over his proposition. Now, some perverse muse, I guess, inspired me to recast Marvel's efforts into a new approach, directed, however, toward the same outcome. This is Andrew Marvell Addresses Science. The clock will tick, biology hems and coughs, only so long, and then we'll quit supplying one half the oval stuff, she says, needed to make life bearable. This is her sorrow right enough. 34 planets like the Earth have circled that number of suns in you. My gospel must be, for what it's worth, before all your DMs are carped, it's true, to seize on some plan to father forth the supreme issue. Biology mandates the ways of the heart conform to the turn of a screw. Before it's too late, you'll exhaust your mandates. I'd gather the seed of a fellow or two. I'm standing here neither for lesson nor rue. I'm dripping my heart's hardest pleasure. So if you'd agree to take leisure with me, we'll disprove that natural law can't be love and liberate millions of suns in me, imprisoning one to start rising in you.
That's great, Richard. Thank you. I love that line about the carpe diem, you know, the way you've used the words. It's very clever. Thank you. And next up will be Susan Penning.
Hello. This is a poem that I wrote for my Irish setter. Take a quick little drink here. It's called Elegy for Tea. Oh, dog, dog, dog. Memory sits hard on the soft moss. Oh, dog, dog, dog. In sun, your glossy red coat shines like satin flames. You fly down the cedar stairs, charging towards wooded wetlands. Morning doves on corner fence post disperse like winged umbrellas, bursting open, cooing alarm, and lifting skyward. You quick turn, dashing by the eastern hedges of the side yard, your lean legs accelerated pistons of power propelling you towards the white picket gate. Protectorate, my regal Irish setter in charge of your backyard kingdom, barking at the lowly school bus rambling its way towards the end of the cul-de-sac. You boomerang back to race the wide horseshoe, speeding the course to the other side of the house for one long last concerto of bark. Goodbye, get out, good riddance, goodbye, yellow bus. On the landing of the back door stairs, a morning ritual well done. Your light bulb head pressed now against the cool glass as you wait, wait, wait for me to let you in, and I do, and you do, drink then heartily from your silver water bowl. Oh yes, Mamas gives you fresh water, Scout, Scouty boy, Scouty O'Day, Scoutum is Scouty, T-bone, and tea. At close of day, the night table lamp switches on. Its small white ceramic base, painted with blue morning glories, shines under its little shade. Two earnest almond eyes tiptoe into our room. It's not for the puffy quilts you love to roll and turn in the mornings, nor the abandoned sock on the floor that you swipe and frolic down the hall with so we can play. No. Your filament fur shines with a radiance like the clementines, so hard for you to patiently wait for me to peel and break apart. Your eyes lock on the orange fruit. Your snout a little puffing bellows as you stoke the coals of anticipation and sprinkle my late night ears with miniature barks as fragile as a house wren's wing. Scrumptious sections for you to delicately take with your tiny teeth and eat with juice-dribbled joy at bedside. And again and again and again, 3 clementines in all. My fingers could not move fast enough. Oh yes, Mamas has to peel it, Scout. Scouty boy, Scouty O'Day, Scoutimus, Scouty T-bone, NT. Oh dog, dog, dog. Memory drops down on the soft moss. Oh dog, dog, dog. I stand at the top of the cedar stairs. A rain at dawn wetted the woodlands. Descending, I gaze upon your favored path and the corner fence post is empty. In morning, unsocked, in tease, I stroll your yard that's wet with summer rain. Droplets on the last of the roses allow fragrant filling air again. The geometry of my love is found alongside the eastern hedges where you ran. And like a compass on a page, I turn to see your grave. Here I am. We laid you so your head would face the setting sun into the west. When orange and fuchsia at their richest spread, the light creates a perfect angle, a crossbeam o'er the one you used to run, your feet the apex of a gold isosceles bed. My bare feet cold on the soft moss stay, and here I keep you company. I remember how warm they used to feel underneath your heat when you would curl beneath the table of my desk. Impossible to place it all in stanzas. 10,000 tennis balls I threw, 1,000 walks through field and stream, leashed, unleashed, and now it seems your spirit's everywhere. You love a child, they grow and flee to find their way within the world. And as they grow, your love remains, but daily tasks begin to wane. But you, beloved Irish friend, my dog, my silky champion, you stayed forever locked in childish need, must always be, and so was walked and bathed and brushed and fed. So losing you, I lose a child again, but one whose life my constant actions did depend. And so I weep upon the moss and weep again. Oh, dog, dog, dog. Morning doves coo in the pink dawn. Oh, dog, dog, dog. Scout, Scouty boy, Scouty O'Day, Scoutimus, Scouty, T-bone, T.
Beautifully read, Susan,
Thank you.
and makes me think of all the dogs that have been my companions too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we're going to go to Heidi Rotterdam. Heidi, you're up. I can't hear you, Heidi. You're still muted. You will have to.
Are you okay now? Okay,
Yes,
sorry, I forgot
okay.
to unmute. Okay, thank you for devoting a whole hour, all of you writers as well as listeners, to the beauty of poetry and prose. I chose a topic which is at first sight not of love, meaning of a mouse, of a dead mouse. And we all have had some experience with mice, and I had a lot of experience with mice, and certainly I did not like them, I did not love them. And this poem is based on a recent real experience in upstate New York in my country house with a dead mouse. And I wouldn't have dared write this poem had not been for my partner in life and love, Jeff, who is in the audience and who encouraged me. And so thank you, Jeff, and thank you again. So here it is. Love poem for a dead mouse. The softness of your furry coat, gray on the back, white on the belly, I dare to touch with reverence. Your ears, paper thin, your whiskers short, erect, a warning. I dare not touch. Your tail, stiff and straight, an arrow to be avoided. I lie next to you. On pristine snow, the sky released just yesterday. Its crystals sparkle green and red as sun rays hit them next to us. My steaming sauna body, naked, lost in the sea of cold, screams, why did I kill you? Set the trap that caught one hind leg only? You did not die immediately. You dragged yourself across 2 rooms and came to rest next to my bed. No blood, no sign of struggle. We share this moment now, as we share 85% of our genes and an ancestor 80 million years ago.
Beautiful. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap up this chapter with Deb Pepper. Deb?
Thank you, Meg. I can see why you had this poem follow Heidi's poem. Very clever. This is a very short poem called House Sitting. Week 1. The orange short hair freaks me out. Double pawed, his food wet, smelly. He's skittish, and we don't like each other. He stays out all night hunting, no doubt. Gone. Good. Week 2. Tuck rolls to his back on the warm deck boards as I write. And last night he snuggled against my sleeping body. And today we say goodbye as I cry. If I could, I would stay out all night hunting mice as his gift. Sometimes love takes time.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Thanks.
Thank you. That was a great sequence, so thank you. So we're going to take a breath, but we're not going to take questions because we're running the clock here. So, and I really want to get to this next group of readers because there's some wonderful poems in here. And I know you will all enjoy this lasting love chapter. Our poets here have written about long-time love between people, of a place or a memory. And I'm sure that you'll enjoy them all. So we're going to start this section with Rabbi Sonia Piltz.
Hi, thanks so much for inviting me. I wrote this poem for my husband before he proposed. The Burning Garden. My grandfather was an unusual man in that he was a carpenter who died with all of his fingers. Twice he burned the skin off his face in front of the fires and then put the potatoes to sleep in the winter. His skin smelled like onions and sawdust, a melancholic, towering next to his wife. My grandmother smelled like hand creams in ovens. Her palms were soft, the skin of her fingers cracked from work. When those two were dead, I took the rings that kept them together. I would put them on my fingers at times. You and I have cut them to pieces. They were melted down, filled, and joined, their names still gleaming under layers of gold. Diamonds are wood, I suddenly remember, in the middle of a night when no one slept, forced by time into perfection, the color of air, ancient forest pressed into hardened coal. When you eat me in scents of wet flowers and rivers, orchids and boas awaken the woods, I think of my grandparents, their innocent gestures. Here, elements ready, fires unfold, flames.
Oh dear, Sonia, you got muted. Would you go back on unmute?
What shall I do? Shall I start
Fires
again?
unfold, you were.
Okay, good. I think of my grandparents, their innocent gestures. Here, elements ready, fires unfold, flames devour the groves of my story. We lie with each other, naked and bold, our hands adorned with smiling snakes that whisper. Water drips from the tree to the ground.
What a
I'm
beautiful poem.
so sorry for the technical glitch in the middle.
But it was fine. We got just that wonderful poem. Thank you for sharing it with us. Oh, so next up is Beth Siegfried.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read this poem about a place that's very special to me. It's called A Familiar Walk. Trees I've gotten to know. Most have stood here for centuries. I speak to them as sages, ask for guidance, compliment their majesty. Did my great grandmother catch them watching? Muffled crunch of leaves, underfoot twigs snap. Earthy scent of mold tickles the nose, wafts away on a warm-edged breeze. When I reach my destination, the sun is low, the dock balanced on its pile of rocks, spiked cedar planks. I sit on its splintery edge, an everyday ritual until blustery gales return to numb my fingers. The lake has dismissed most inhabitants. The winds should be moving swiftly now to bring the onset of winter's camouflage, but today is a reprieve. Today, sounds of sloshing water and a warmish autumn whisper of wind gusts through hemlock and pine drifts through canals in my ear. And then, boom, too close, reverberates through the forest, shakes my body, unmistakable. I observe patterns, steady lake ripples, pushed by surface breezes and assaulting sound waves. 1,000 sun reflections skip along the surface. Ba-boom, closer now. Across from me, I feel it deep in my chest. 3 ducks to my left, hidden in shadows shaped by the setting sun, take sudden flight. They fly towards the blast. I try to tell them, fly the other way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're right there with you. Fly the other way. Alex, you're up next. Alexandra Beers.
Thank you, Meg and Catherine, for inviting me, and all of you for your beautiful work. Happy Valentine's Day. This poem was stolen. The idea was stolen from the great poet Matthew Olsman. Good artist borrow and great artist steal, I heard. So this is confessional disguised as love poem. Here's what I've got, why I think I'll stay. Because you always, always seek more laughs, more music, more argument. Because you are too much of everything. Because you are so damn difficult to live with that the challenge is what keeps me alive. Because our first fight was over Tolstoy. Because our last fight was over safety. Because you fell asleep while I was in labor, fell in love with our newborn and made pancakes while we nursed. Because you are competitive about your dreams, which often feature Springsteen admiring your work. Because you are forgetful about your keys, your wallet, your phone, your shoes, your coat, your coffee cup. Because you pour yourself a stiff drink and do not finish it. Because you will not throw anything away, not your third grade anti-litter editorials, not the ticket stub to your first Dead show, not any of those rejection letters. Because you gave me your old guitar and taught me how to play it. Because you gave me a Raggedy Ann coin purse you found on the street. Because you gave me a cassette of Louis and Oscar, the Sweet Honey tickets you won on the radio, that pearl you found in an oyster. Because you dug up your bar mitzvah bonds to buy us this apartment. Because you cry at the movies and in crowded cafes. Because you ask me what I want, whispering. Because you ask me how it feels. When I walk in the room, you ask how I'm doing. When I leave, you want me back. Whenever possible, you want to touch. When I bristle, you want to touch still. You whistle names, you whistle tunes you cannot name, top every dish with sriracha, and do not remember my every breakdown. You do not even call it a breakdown. We just are who we are. And when you forgot again our big day, you panicked at first, then hightailed it to the icy beach, scoured for an hour and returned nearly frozen, holding out to me a fistful of rocks, each one more or less in the shape of a wrinkled heart.
Oh, such a beautiful poem. Thank you, Alex. All those rocks. All right, our next poet is Jennifer House.
Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's my first poetry reading, so bear with me. This poem arose because I think, like many of you, I've been thinking a lot about, reflecting a lot about things that are broken in our world. And that has led me to think about mending and how we might go about mending the things that are broken. So I was very delighted to come across some information about an ancient mending technique called kitsugi, which is a Japanese technique for mending porcelain, where you mix gold and glue together and thus mend. This poem it's short. This poem is called Kitsugi Valentine. Old love becomes a newfound thing if it asks you not to pay for sin, but rather that you find repair, reply with joinery of gold. Affix bowl's crack with jagged seam, admire the beauty of the break. Love thus reclaimed is yours to make. Thank you.
Lovely, Jennifer, and packs so much in the short poem. Thank you. And our last two readers, I believe, are celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary today. Pamela and David Brunel. And Pam, I think you're up first.
Okay, yeah, I'm reading first. So this is a poem that I wrote as if my husband wrote it about me. It's called I Absolutely Love to Annoy My Wife. I love to annoy my wife, to really bug her. I'm quite diabolical at times. I leave windows open at night. The doors bang and wake her up. The mosquitoes buzz in her ear. The cat jumps on our bed and meows in the dark. This really irritates her. I exhale loud, grunting snores while she lies silently seething. I bounce all over the bed while she seeks a quick snooze. I provoke her slumber. I shake her awake with a helpless need. I turn on the lights when she's deep asleep. I lose my glasses all day to bug her. I lose everything: hats, sunglasses, car keys. I forget everything she tells me, and I scribble notes in her address book. I ask her for phone numbers. She saves contacts for me, but I can't find anything in my phone. I leave empty glasses and bowls in the fridge. I spill milk on the shelves. I forget to flush the toilet, and I pee on the toilet seat sometimes. I eat like a slurping pig. I make slobbering sounds. I spill crumbs all over myself. I load my plate with piles of food. I love to scrape the plate, screeching, scratching for every last morsel, just to irritate her. I make up stories to scare her, and I forget to take the kids to school. I purposely ignore her when she's sharing something really important. I moo with the cows, and I talk to the cats. I argue about stupid things. She thinks I plot and plan every second of the day. I love to be the chaos in her life. Thank you.
I just love the humor of that, Pam. That's wonderful. And we've given David the last word.
All right. The last word, giving me the last word is dangerous. But I feel very honored to be with you all and with my wife at the same time. This poem's called Belover and Belovee, and it has its origins in the time I was working with Pam and supporting her in writing her new book, Beloving, which is poems about our life in Africa and overseas. And there's a little chapter in there that, that yours truly was part of as well. So here goes. My dearest, closest friend, dauntless partner, both lover and lovee, my pioneering co-pilot, valiant collaborator in living the odyssey and questions of each new day, my fierce archangel on our earthly and spiritual paths, sharing the mystery, magic, and majesty of each moment's quantum possibility. You are moon illuminating the dark, sun emblazoning the day. Earth, wind, and fire, stoking my soul's relentless wonder lust. Flywheel keeping my pistons churning, mast anchoring my wind sweeping sails, rudder holding our sea challenged course, auxiliary power when my engines groan, keel and ballast stabilizing in storms, sextant navigating stars and unknown shores, radar tracking threats and risks, sonar sounding for shallow shoals. My ferocious comrade and co-conspirator over our 37 years united. Our gift that keeps on giving lessons of love, challenge, and commitment. What a team we are, far beyond the sum of our less than perfect parts, multiplied by our daring differences, strengthened by our daily questing, through alien and self-inflicted thickets, mazes, and labyrinths of our own making, fearlessly brave in facing ever-lurking unknowns and ghostly shadows mocking within. Thank you for our symmetric love, for needing me as much as I need you, for leading me beside the still waters and calming my soul, sometimes despite myself, closer to God and borderline sanity, even within the earshot of the Holy Spirit. For being strong enough to bridle my wayward lurching, for uprooting my Taurian hooves dug in the dirt, for being caring enough to give all, but not giving up or giving in, for being wise enough to know that we're so better together, even when in our own and each other's way, for reaching out and reaching in when our marred mirrors see each other and ourselves through a glass darkly, for embracing, yes, relishing our ménage à trois with Mother Nature, for kickstarting my hind end into and bullhead into yes when blind spots or indifference bark no, for rounding each other's raw edges, filling each other's gaps, splinting each other's broken places, for your mother of all bullshit detectors. If a few of the right people in the Bible had yours, all of history would be dancing to a different symphony. For our divergent stereoscopic orthogonal prisms of seeing, knowing, and discernment. For your gusto, grit, and moxie. For our shared savory sauce of irreverence, our flaming chariot of anti-orthodoxy. For our flawed and fractured asymmetries, yet mutual, miraculous mysteries. Like Christ's rejected rocks, becoming the cornerstones of our couple-spired cathedral. better than anything imagined, and beyond human plan, enthralled. How many wake up each day, curious, pondering, quaking with surprise and wonderings, whisperings of the Holy Spirit, callings to inhabit joys of our hearts, challenges to transcend self and limits, sharings and darings of souls, blessings of one, must bless all, only and just awaring, loving, and growing each day, side by side, footstepping in the sand, togethering. Only this, all this, just this, just this.
Thank you so much. I love the irreverence and the reverence in your poems. And I can't think of a more fitting way to end our readings than to wish you both a very happy anniversary. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And, you know, we finished. It's 5:13, so we have time for a few questions in chat or comments if you'd like to, if anybody wants to put something in chat, or if one of our readers wants to speak up. And all of the poems, if we had the author's permission, are on the website now under thepoetscorner.org, the poems. Comments, questions, lots of thank yous coming through the chat. It was just such a wonderful reading. There was so much. I felt like we had a lot to absorb, but it was all such good work. And so different.
As someone who's known David longer than Pam, I want to say that everything was accurate and she deserves a medal. I love you both. That was wonderful. All of you were wonderful.
Somebody asked for the name of David's poem. I think it's David, do you want to say the name of your poem?
It's Belover and Belovee.
Great, thank you.
That's the connection to the book Beloving.
And somebody put in chat, it's good to be reminded so eloquently that there's still a lot of love in the world. So true. Thank you, Eric.
I just want to give a shout out.
I encourage everybody to go to the website because there were so many pieces that are wonderful that we couldn't include today. Richard, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did. I wanted to call out to Josephine. I loved your poem very much. And when you mentioned Andersonville, it clicked with me. I grew up in Chicago, and so I immediately paid even closer attention. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Fellow Chicagoan, yes.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Lots of thank yous. I don't see any questions. I'm going to wrap it up unless there are some final comments or words. Catherine, did you have something you wanted to say? You're muted. You're still muted, Catherine.
Yeah, and now I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say what a lovely afternoon I've had. It was so much fun, and everything different rhythm, different tone, different. Oops, here comes Rich.
You got okay. Yeah, no.
Oh, he was coming to help me. Anyways, thank you all. It was absolutely a pleasure to hear you.
That's great. I hope you all come back on March 7th. It's the first Sunday in the month of March. I think it will be fun to have you all. If you want to, there's these wonderful Poets Corner mugs on our website. You can order mugs and support the Poets Corner. And I just want to thank our readers once again. What a delightful afternoon.
Meg,
Yes.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to actually put on a dress. Or a dress in about 3 years. And so it was really fun to get dressed up and, you know, do something.
Lipstick.
Yes, it's lovely dressing. And we don't have that opportunities very often in this past day of doing.
I got out of my bathrobe. Okay, thank you.
That's great. Thanks. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you.